when you go back and you're during it, and then when you watch it about 50 times and you're going through it, and like I said beforehand, it's on me. It's on me. These kids played hard. They did the things. We need to clean up some of the fundamental work. That was the biggest thing. And I don't want this game. I've told them. I said, hey, listen, let's not make this game define who we are. Because I honestly, coming through this and going through fall camp, looking at the way that we performed in fall camp, the way that we practiced going up to the game, going out in that field and starting off pretty fast and going into it, and then kind of, going through those stretches, that's tough. But let's not make it define us, and we can't have Maryland beat us twice. That's probably the biggest thing. I was saying outside, it was very therapeutic for us to get back on the practice field on Tuesday because we're all hurt. I mean, that's, when you go out there and that's your performance, that's gut-wrenching. And to get back there on the practice field and to start getting back to fundamentals and getting back to basics and go real hard in practice, in my opinion, will be rewarded.
Todd, what's the number one area you'd want, if you had to rank them, what's the number one thing you want to see improvement on?
Well, it would be perimeter support. I thought, during the game, we let too many balls get outside of us, so we addressed it right on Sunday. We come out for a little 20 to 25 minutes run through, and that's what we worked on. And then just some of the eye discipline and that we got to clean up. But like I said beforehand, those kids fought and scratched, clawed, and this is on me.
When you say that, do you need to simplify more?
Well, I think
much, or?
From what we did in the game to what we've done in the past, if you ask the random kid walking down the hallway right now, it was pretty simple. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's to the point where it was so vanilla, but it was not overwhelming. So, okay. And you expect that in first ball games. That's one thing that we're very mindful of. Big crowd, kids want to prove something. You don't want to have too many, wrinkles here and there or do stuff that's, that you're teaching a week or a week and a half. So we went into that game plan. There was a couple things here and there, but for the most part, we did what we've done all fall camp.
Right. Do you know how many missed tackles y'all had?
Oh, I could say this part of it. It was probably in the 15 to 20 range, which was extremely high for us.
So you think the problems were more administrative and not about effort at all?
No, there's like I said beforehand, when things go wrong, it's to the guy that's running it, and that's me. Okay, so that's what I'm explaining to you guys with it. And I take full responsibility for it. And like I told the kids beforehand, the only way that I know to get anything righted is to go back to work. And like I said beforehand, you sit there on Saturday and just like everybody in this room felt, you can imagine what I felt like. So what you try to do is you try to process the information, look at the film, find out things that you can do better, and once you get into Sunday, get those things corrected with the kids, go out there and physically do them, and then at some point you got to let it go because you got a next opponent. So that's the biggest thing from our kids' standpoint is we can't sit here. Right? There's everybody's embarrassed by it. There's no doubt about it. But to sit here and go into Wednesday or go into Thursday and still have that, to me, that's a loser mentality. And we can't have that here. So, like I said, very therapeutic to get back on the field on Tuesday and just go back to work and reestablish our identity, fundamentals, techniques, and get better.
Did anybody play well?
Well, I think there was a couple guys. Holton's a guy that comes to the top of my head. I thought Malik did some decent things at times. And there was a couple plays that I think he left out there, but there were some things that, when I evaluated him last year, there were some things that I said, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But I saw him cut it loose a couple times out there, which was good to see. We had opportunity, and we scored 3 times on defense too, and that's just mind blowing to me that you can start off a game that way and then get into these patches, and it just felt like, hey, when it was a critical play, it was this, that, or whatever it was. And we had opportunities going into that game, even when you look at the fourth quarter, 3rd and 19, and we got a chance to get off the field. I think it's a 3-point ball game, get the ball back to our offense because our offense is starting to roll. Just those things, we got to take advantage of that and capitalize. So those are the things that, you know, obviously they eat at me. They're tough to swallow, but you know, I've been doing this for 12 years as a coordinator. I've been doing it for 22 as a coach, and you have these moments in it, and that the hardest part is to let it go. You know, you got to get it corrected, but at some point you got to say to yourself, like, you know, I'll inch myself back in and watch it 30 times. This will be the 30th time, just because it's, to me, it's, you know, it works on your brain, but you got to get prepared for your next opponent.
Were guys dead-legged, Todd?
No.
And will you play more guys?
This week we will, because we'll have to. Excuse me. 10 seconds of play. When they played South Florida, they ran 92 plays. When they played Cal Poly, because Cal Poly is more of a running team, it was a little bit less. But we're thinking we're going to see like 92 plays, 95 plays. So we're going to have to. So we're going to rotate guys in there. At that point in the game, I think we played in like 62 or 63 in Maryland. But this game, most definitely, we're going to be substituting guys in.
Going back to something Tom said Monday, and I know he said it to y'all, the whole phrase, we ain't changing.
Yeah.
You know, and how much, just no matter what happened against Maryland, do you tell the guys, this is what we expect, this is what we expect from here to eternity? You got to get to this level.
But I think what ends up happening is when you get into some hard times, it's fight or flee, you know, and you look at it and say to yourself, like, this is the course, this wins us championships. Is it going to be hard? Is this a setback? Absolutely. So in our deal, this is what shows what we're about. This, you know, this coming week, this ball game is going to show everybody in the country, hey, that these guys have the grit to win a championship. And the hard times, it's easy to get on a bandwagon. It's easy to celebrate when things are going great. But when stuff is really hard, it's who's going to be there, who's going to be next to you shoulder to shoulder. Are you going to turn around and we're about to get in a fight and I can't find my buddy? And he took off. So this is what we're going to find out this week. And honestly, Tuesday's practice was as good a practice as we've had around here. And today was good practice too. So the kids responded the way that we wanted to. And, you know, you talk about we're not changing. It goes into doing a routine, a consistent routine that has testimony that wins championships. So it's really easy when you get knocked around a little bit to sit there and question and analyze. But we're not going to do that. And our kids starting to understand that when adversity hits, you square it up. You square it up and you go after it.
Some of the big plays in your secondary were committed by your veterans, Chris Boyd on the 3rd 19, DJ Locke.
Yeah, you know, just like I said beforehand with those guys, it's very consistent throughout fall camp. You know, there's some plays that are out there that, you know, with Chris and with PJ, and there's a whole bunch of other guys, and not to call those guys out, but we have to finish those plays, and that's the expectation with it. So it's just back to basics with them. Those two guys, I love those two kids. I do. I've already told you guys how I felt about PJ, and as disappointed as he is, okay, it's love him up. And like we keep talking about beforehand, I'm not going to let this define anybody, and we're going to move forward off of it. And I think that's, from his standpoint, that's what we're talking about, is we're in this together.
Todd, from a lot of the players yesterday, we heard the phrase, let it rip. What does that mean specifically for your guys on defense?
Well, I just think when you have an opportunity to make a play, there's no hesitation. It should be, you know, instinctive to just cut it loose and go, and don't process things as you're going to the football. That's what we're talking about. Because if you watch the film, you guys saw it. I mean, you watch the film and you say, hey, finish that thing up. And what is that hesitation? And I think that's what we've been preaching is, you know, if you sit there and there's any type of doubt in a game where you have a bunch of dynamic guys that you got to tackle or defend, that little ounce of doubt cost you a step, cost you a pick, cost you a tackle. So that's the biggest thing, is don't go out there and analyze and think. Play free, put your foot in the ground and just go. And that's what we've been came out of the game, and we've always preached that defensively. It's like, we don't want anybody analyzing anything. We just want you to go. But just reinforcing that to say, you know what, there's going to be a time where we do fail. It's okay. If we get 10 other guys chasing right behind you, we'll be fine. So that's let it rip.
Time for two more.
When you hear that your guys had a players-only meeting, is that something that you guys as coaches are okay with, or would you guys prefer to be the voice they're listening to?
Well, I think when you get in those situations, that's the decision of the head coach in terms of that. But I know this, being a family and being a family member, if they wanted to get together, and Tom's the one that makes the final call on it. But me personally, in terms of those guys wanting to get together and rally each other and say, hey, listen, this is what we need to get accomplished, I think that's very healthy. And they wouldn't have had it if Tom didn't think so too.
What was it like
Last
with
one.
Ellinger out there, I guess, taking first team reps?
What's that? What's that?
Practice day, you said it's as good a practice as you've had Tuesday and Wednesday. Of course,
Yeah.
you got the
What Sam, here's what you get with Sam. Sam is a scrappy dude. That's what Sam is. Sam's a scrappy kid. I love everything about him. Straight A student. And if I could play him at linebacker, I'd play him at linebacker. And I'm sure he would want to play linebacker, to be honest with you. That's what type of dude he is. Love that kid.
Not both ways.
No, I don't think he can make it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We did some good things in the course of the game. We didn't finish off drives, didn't finish off enough plays. I caught the end of TO. Same thing. I thought initially we came out a little bit playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win. I think we settled down a little bit, and the flow of the game started going a little bit better for us. Penalties hurt us big time. Killed a lot of drives through the course of the game at different times. Momentum even. Get a big play and get a first down and goal. And next thing you know, you look up, it's 3rd and 20. So we can't do that. It was one of the things I talked to the team about on Friday. The keys to the game was don't beat yourself, and I felt like certainly give credit to Maryland for what they did. Much improved, haven't played them, but we could have did things a lot better as well.
Tim, in a 10-point game and then a 3-point game, just for Chris and Kyle to only get, I think, 6 carries in the second half. Did y'all get away from that? Or what happened there?
I think you looked up, we were down 21, I think, 26 at one point, whatever it was, 21, 26. And the mindset just became score, and we got to try to score fast to get back in this thing. And then when you did, you kind of were rolling. Why would you change? It was kind of like, hey, we kind of found a rhythm on some things. Shane was doing some good things, had a hot hand. We had guys getting open. So I just felt like, hey, just keep doing what we're doing right now because it was working. We were moving the football, and we got a couple of touchdown drives there. So I think that was kind of the perception. I don't think it was any lack of not trusting those guys or doing any of that by any means.
Coach, how has Sam looked? How has Sam looked the past 2 days in practice, and is he a guy you feel like could be ready to go and play on Saturday?
Sam's a competitor. I mean, let's start there. He's going to do everything in his power that if we need him to play on Saturday, he'll be ready. So the way I look at him and what he has done, he's done nothing but improve since the day he walked into these doors. As a quarterback, understanding our system, he does a great job. His personality, his leadership, all the attributes, characteristics that you want in that guy, he's got. So I think, the question always comes up, how does the team feel? I think the team will follow him. I think the coaches respect him. He's a hardworking young man. He's a great student, and he does everything right. How do you not follow one of those guys, And he plays really, really hard. So you love that, and that's all you can ask of the guy,
Do you have to? Can you give him the entire playbook, or is he ready to take that all on? Do you have to limit it at all?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to put together a game plan to allow him to have success that will help us beat San Jose. So we're obviously the things we feel like we need to do to beat them, he's repping those plays as he's practicing.
Is he going to start?
No, I can't tell you that right now.
Do you give Gerard equal reps, a lot of reps?
No,
Practice,
not really.
Yeah. Okay. Do you give them any reps?
A few, just in case.
Okay.
You have Josh and him. Just
Okay.
I mean, because you know he's the last one you got. If
Right.
Shane's not playing, the last
Right.
guy you got is Sam. So you
Right.
got to have something. So you know you have Josh, Covey, and give Gerard a couple of things that he's done.
Tim, not to nitpick, but how many open receivers did Shane miss? It looked like he missed his check down a few times. Dorian looked like he was open in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That 4th down one. Yeah, it was an interesting trade-off that they did. They were in man coverage, and the guy playing man on Dorian left them. It's a tough see for the quarterback. It was a number 2 guy. Usually a number 1 guy's man might fall off, but usually the number 2 guy doesn't. They just got tangled up and he missed it, you know. But there wasn't very many. Now he didn't miss very many. I think at one point he played like 13 or 14 in a row.
So where you ate the sack on the first play, Kyle Porter's right there.
Yeah, but they rolled the corner. He missed the hitch into the boundary. Should have threw the hitch first. That was his first read. I think he predetermined what he was going to do before the snap.
So Shane's day to day. He may or may not practice tomorrow. Can you start a quarterback who's only practiced 2 days in a week?
If you're you know, there probably you could. And Shane, a veteran guy, started 13 games here. It's different if he was a young guy. I'd feel really apprehensive of doing it, but he started 13 games. So if we felt like he was ready, I don't know if you watch, he's back there taking every rep. He's just not throwing the football. I mean, he's back there behind the quarterback running every play, so he's getting mental reps right now.
Could he play and not have had a single practice this week?
I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to say. Hard to look into the future and all.
Are there any backups that are going to play more that either look good for you?
No, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that jumps out that said, hey, wow, this guy. I mean, I thought we were inconsistent. There was a lot of good things that some of the players did, but again, we were inconsistent.
Is Kirk Johnson okay?
You know, I think he's one of those guys, too, that he's a day-to-day guy a little bit.
If Chris and Kyle struggle on Saturday, what do you think about maybe inserting the freshman for a couple reps? You know, how do they look right now?
You know, they continue to improve, too. You know, those guys are talented guys. I think probably by the end of the year we'll need them at some point. So that wouldn't be out of the question if we used them. But, you know, I think we talked about this last week a little bit. I trust the assistant coaches, and Stan feels like he's ready to play, we'll play him. If he doesn't, we won't.
What is your confidence in this offensive line?
I love the offense. I still love the offensive line. I mean, there was communication issues was the biggest thing. It wasn't talent. It wasn't toughness. It wasn't heart. It was communication issues.
But do y'all feel like if need be, you can run off Connor Williams and Vahe and get 1 or 2 yards? Do y'all feel that confident in them?
I believe so, yes. I think that those guys continue to get better. They continue to, you know, Maryland, you know, they did some different things. So when you install a new offense, you got new guys doing it, and you practice a certain style for a certain thing, and they come out there and a little bit different. Sometimes it creates apprehension.
Right.
It creates communication issues, and that's a little bit maybe some things that took place.
I just wonder, how much are you hampered by what you want to do with run blocking? When you lost Andrew Beck, you know, Rodriguez went out. I mean, how much have y'all had to juggle what you wanted to do with run blocks?
I don't think we sat there and said, hey, we lost these guys, we can't do this anymore. I don't believe that that's been the case at all.
Okay.
Did Hudson play many snaps?
He did. He played some, yeah.
How did he do?
I thought Pat did pretty good, you know. I know Derek felt like probably should have played him a little bit more. So he might be a guy I might see more action. Again, I trust those guys. If Derek feels like he's had a good week and he's practiced and he comes to me and says, hey, Coach, we're going to play him more, I'm good with that.
What about
Time for 2 last ones?
Denzel?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I know Derek had mentioned that as well. you know, it just the game got out of hand fast, and unfortunately, and as a coach, you rely on the veterans a lot of times. You hang your hat and say, well, I'm a little nervous about maybe putting this guy in because we got to get things going. So that might have been a little bit of the case.
You mentioned the penalties on offense. I think you guys had a John Burt touchdown taken off the board because of that.
Yeah.
How do you correct that this week in practice?
You know, we obviously show them why. You know, the holding call, and that wasn't even the guy who got the penalty. We had another guy who didn't execute what he was supposed to do to help him. So we teach him, man, this is wrong. This is what happened. He was just trying to protect the quarterback and thought he had help and didn't have help. And so, you know, we just got to do a better job of those things. It's hard, you know, when you coach those guys to play really, really hard and really, really fast, and you mix all the intangibles together. Sometimes stuff like that's going to take place. We never ask our guys to play perfect. It's one thing about Coach Herman, and I love him. He'll never say, play perfect. Because the minute you say, don't take penalties, don't do this, everything's negative, it's don't. You know, it's put your foot in the ground and go as hard and as fast as you can go and protect the football. That's it. Because talent can overcome scheme and hard work and toughness, and you can win a lot of games doing those things. You can win a lot of games doing those things. And you build that culture and you continue to coach the fundamentals and the techniques. They can't go out of the window. Some of them did in the game. We got sloppy because we were behind. And when you get behind, you tend to go back to old ways like everybody does. And so sometimes different things took place like that shouldn't have taken place. So
Y'all doing your two-back?
did we in the game on Saturday?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, we did some stuff with Gerard, but